So this is very curious. What we have here, we have a basalt layer. We have the soil horizon on the top, and you can see the black area has lots of organics in the clay. Then down below in the white section, looks like it might be calcrete. So calcium carbonate, it's just consolidated. Below that we have also a pretty much basalt horizon. So it looks like that in between these two basalt layers we have a soil formation, which is the calcrete. So that would have formed more in an arid horizon or arid time period. So I'm not too sure the time period it is, but these lavas are probably about 2 million years old. Obviously the lower one is a lot older, so I'm not too sure about the dating of this site. No, I don't have any information which I need to look up. So this is just an excavation for water drainage, and if we walk along we can see, so this basalt's been scarified, and once again we have a calcrete horizon, so maybe we'll go down there and have a closer look. Okay, so here we have a fragmented basalt. Looks slightly weathered, but underneath that we just have so this is a paleosoil. It's an older soil. Don't know what the age is, but if this basalt's like 1 million years old and this one's like 2 million, then roughly that's a date range, but I'll need to look up the actual date range of that. So here, this is curious, here we have two. So we have one calcrete here, another calcrete there. So this is pretty friable. So this is pretty much calcium carbonate. So this would have actually come from the basalt itself, as the basalt has formed the soil. So you've got a soil here, soil horizon here. So you've got capillary action bringing the calcium carbonate up from below. So obviously it's pretty dry. So as we're walking along, we can see that in some places the actual calcrete is separated by a layer of a lot thicker basalt than it is down below. Some places the calcrete is actually quite thin, and the basalt layer is actually quite thick. So this indicates that there's been a lag period between the deposition of the lava flows. So we have the basalt layer, then we have the calcrete, so that's the soil formation in the arid time. And then after that there's been another basalt flow, and then there's been another calcrete horizon. So obviously the calcrete is formed from the basalt as the top of the basalt's been eroded and weathered into the soil horizon. The capillary action has brought the calcium carbonate up and solidified it or deposited at the place where it's been evaporated. So that's why we have the calcrete there. So this is quite interesting. So this indicates that this time period's been quite dry. And obviously on the top of it we have another basalt flow. It's been weathered and turned into topsoil, but it hasn't been affected by the same arid environment that the calcrete did below. So the ages for the Victorian basalt is about, I don't know, 5 to 1 million years. So this would be indicated in a time period of that frame. But most of this basalt's not been dated. You can date this basalt using the half-life series, probably uranium, uranium lead, should I say, the time period between that, or you can, use argon, but I'm not too sure what they actually use to test this type of basalt. And the calcrete they probably can't date because it's pretty much just the soil. So the uranium, it could still be present, but its daughter products are probably not present there. It could have either been leached away or it could have been concentrated, so we don't know. So that's very interesting. So assessing this calcrete, as you can see, calcium carbonate, pretty much nodules. It's pretty hard. So we have a lot of calcium carbonate on this exposure. Seems very interesting. And as you can see, it does crumble, break apart quite easily, so it's fairly easy weathered. And as you can see, over time it pretty much just disappears because it does break down quite easily. So I'm not too sure about this calcium carbonate anymore. Okay, so my assessment before was these were paleosoils, so soils that formed at different time periods in the past, and they were probably not the actual top of the soil, but they have always been like I forget my English. The zone of okay, so here we have it. Here we have lack of moisture. Here we have a lot of moisture underneath. So we have a capillary zone. That's what I'm looking for. In between here. So this is a capillary zone, which calcium carbonate is sucked from the bottom. So probably the basalt rock or whatever. And it is sucked up. And here's where the evaporation happens. So it's evaporated here, and the calcium carbonate is precipitated there. So up the top we have some other basalt. So what I thought was this was an actual in between the basalt flow. So you got one basalt flow down here, you have the calcrete here, then you have another basalt flow, another calcrete. So the actual calcrete on top is part of this basalt flow. The calcrete down below is part of this basalt flow. Then on top of this we have another basalt flow. But maybe that's not what actually happened. Maybe this and that formed at the same time. So we have two different zones of capillary action and evaporation happening, because Australia does have long periods of drought sometimes. So maybe this is all recent material. I do not know. You can date the actual rock, but you can't really date the calcium carbonate because it's just calcium and carbonate, and these are not radioactive materials, so you can't date these. This material would have some uranium, some zircons. You can get uranium or probably argon, something like that. I'm not too sure what they use to date these in Victoria. I'll need to look that up. But this is very interesting. So there could be two hypotheses here. This is a current calcrete. Yeah, so one is a current calcrete which is currently forming, and it forms in dry months, so or dry years, whatever the time period. So that could actually be what's happening here, or it could actually be paleosoil, so formed 1 or 2 million years ago, that time period. I don't know. We need to actually date these basalt formations that we have here, because they do vary over Victoria, and it could be just a relic of that time period in which it was actually a lot drier than it is now. So if you look in the background, you can see there's a lot of water. So this is not conductive of calcrete really forming if you have a lot of water But this is pretty much the water table here. Underneath here we just have basalt. Let's see here. That one has a lot of vesicles, so it's top of flow. And it's quite fractured. Even though it's quite fractured, the fractures has clay in it. Clay slows down the conductivity of the actual water itself. Anyway, thank you very much. Hope this helps you. Let me know what you think.